You're on with the husbands right here on WHUR.com, okay? And on at Real Husbands of Largo on Facebook and on YouTube. Make sure you check us out. We're sitting here talking about just dealing with your emotions and how you transfer that over to your sons. Are we raising our boys right? Are we showing them how to deal with their emotions properly? And especially as that translates into dealing with other people and dealing with women. I know for me, one thing when it comes to my sons and dealing with emotion, I recognize that I used to be the one to say, stop crying. And I see my son bottle up, one in particular. But when he got mad, he would go off. And it was like, yo, why is he going off like this? But the light turned on. He don't get to have it out when he get, when he get hurt or he get in trouble. Because I see him, he go, and I was like, boy, what are you doing? You gonna blow a fuse or something? But I did that. You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't let him get over into that snotty it's too much. All right, so I give him some time. No, son, go ahead, cry it out. You ain't gonna have no trouble. Cry it out, and now that's enough, right? I give him time.
You cap his emotions.
Man, I give him capping. I know what he's
saying. But when you like this, when you go from this
after a while, man.
That's something different. That's something different. Yeah,
something I'm missing here, man, about this topic, right? You hear Algiers say, okay, I want you to be emotional, a little sensitive or whatever, but I'm only going to give you 2 or 3 tears down your eye. But if you boo on, you got to stop. So she putting a cap on what's going on, right? You putting a cap on your son.
I am. I think there needs to be a level of control. Don't get me wrong. There needs to be a level of control.
But maybe he's not ready at that time. Like he's still getting it out.
No, but I can't wait. I can't, because I seen your kids. I can't. No, but really, I can gauge when he's going too far.
Okay, that's different. And
that's what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to cut him off. I don't literally sit there and count 1, 2, 3. I watch him, let him settle down. Most times they settle on their own. But if he tired and feeling whiny, keep on going. No. Like, okay, you need to get.
As a parent, you got to be able to recognize.
And that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about emotionally. I'm just talking about now. We talking about whining and all getting.
Yeah. So here the issue for my kids, right? They say their father is like the emotional one, right? But I'm also the one that if something need to happen, like where like discipline need to happen, like severe, like really something need to stop. I'm the one to do that. So how do they put those two together, right? Here go this guy, he crying watching this man in his yellow jacket talk about his mother and father, right? But this the same guy. This the same guy that like threw me into the wall or whatever like that because I backed up, No. You get thrown on the wall. If you talk to your mother a certain way, you get thrown on the wall. Hey, listen, you gotta protect me for that. Lock me up for that. Hey, if you talk to my wife a certain way, you getting hit, bud.
The thoughts being expressed by Stuart Ransom are not the thoughts of the husband show or any of his affiliates.
Nah, I don't hit my kids hard. But they talk to their mama a certain way, you gonna get touched.
Now, you know what? That's one thing I do not tolerate.
Go ahead.
I ain't playing with you. And it is boys or girls.
Go ahead.
Look or talk at your mama sideways.
Hey,
you
ain't no rocket ships on that. You gonna count them down if they bark at your wife?
No. I'm gonna be barking.
I'm
the dog.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, you about to see something. But I want to talk about this, too, because we're talking about raising up our boys right. And I don't know if you guys have had this conversation with your sons about how to deal when it comes to being in different environments and dealing with law enforcement or people of a different hue, dealing with different races and things like that. But there's a study out that says, I believe it was done in Ohio. My notes aren't in front of me, but
it's Ohio.
where they tested black boys between the ages of 11 and 17 to see their comfort levels when there were more white people around than they used to dealing with.
Go ahead.
And the numbers showed that typically they become more fearful, feeling unsafe when it's more white people around. And I believe we know why. It's not something that's new to us. Truthfully, it ain't a study. We ain't need a study because I know how I feel or how I felt when my family lived in Pennsylvania. It was cool when we was back on the farm. But when we went out into the public square and it was all white people there, that felt different. They looked at us differently. I got the police called on me, of course. Things like that happen. And so even to this day, in certain neighborhoods, I have an expectation that the police will be called. how do you start talking to your son about it? Not you so much, but the rest of us. How do we?
Come on, man.
No, but how do you talk to? How do you deal with your son? You know, talk to him. Have you started talking to him about dealing in that environment?
So this is really what you're talking about. Generations before us have dealt with this. I got cousins and stuff down south or whatever like that. They know that there's a white part of town, there's a black part of town. You don't go on that side, right? This is the reason why the story is getting so much play, is because millennials have a certain way about them, right? We have done certain things for them at coming up, where millennials are kind of fearless a little bit. You know, they kind of brash or whatever. They take on situations a lot differently than we do. So to hear a millennial say, "Oh, I'm kind of nervous about going into a neighborhood or something like that," you wouldn't think that somebody so adventurous or so out there would have those kind of thoughts. So if they starting to feel it, and we were trying to protect them from that, by how we tried to spread out from the madness or whatever, now we got an issue. Because it's always been there. You always knew you ain't supposed to be going certain part of towns. But for our millennials, we always thought that they was going to have a mindset where I'm going to go anywhere, I'm going to talk to anybody, any way I want to talk to them. And we thought that was strong. Like, wow, these young cats right here, don't mess with them. But now they like, wait a minute. There is an other side to this.
Well, we seeing so much of it on TV.
Yeah, you're right. Oh man.
Wow.
Shoot, I mean,
the third seat that's open.
Not so much on TV, but I can just recall just when I first got out of college, and I had like a little part-time job, and I would go to the job, and I think part of it has a lot to do with where we grew up too. You know, we're predominantly black neighborhoods,
money,
and you know, and, hey, whatever you want to call it.
No, I'm just saying, like, there were resources.
No, I'm saying,
people did well. Our parents did well,
and so when I went into the situation where it was a predominantly white environment, I don't know what if it was the lack of what's the word? Encouragement of myself. What's the word I'm looking for? Self-esteem I had of myself, but I didn't feel adequate. You know, I didn't feel like I felt like, you know, should I be here? You
really?
know? Yeah. And I went home and talked to my dad. I was like, you know, Daddy, when I went to the job, you know, I didn't feel like I could, you know, do it as well as they did. And he was like this, let me tell you something, son. You feel like that, then you ain't going to do well. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a brain just like they do. You got a mind that may be quicker than most of them do. He said, but I will tell you this, make sure you on time and you're dependable. He said, because if you don't, they're going to look at you a certain way. They already do when you walk into the door.
Right,
you know, that's what he told me. He said, they're already looking at you a certain way when you look into the door.
Yeah.
So to translate to your question, like I talk to my boys about being on time and being responsible. Like we have to, you know, and Alexis, you know, she gets mad at me sometimes because like I really like to be on time for stuff. And like she's like, and she does too, you know, but it's like I try to.
She just sleep too long.
Hey, hey, America.
Stay asleep.
But it's like we, you know, I want to impress upon them, because of who you are, you do have to make an extra effort to do certain things in an environment like that to prove yourself, to say, you know, I am better. It shouldn't be like that.
It shouldn't be. But it is.
You know, it is. You know,
That's
so that's how I deal
situation.
with my boys. You know, kind of I express to them the feeling, or not even feeling, but experience that I dealt with. This is how I dealt with it, and this is how we can move past it.
You know, my wife went to a predominantly white school, and when I would go to see her, at times it was predominantly white. I wasn't afraid of them, but I was concerned about their concern and what it would cause them to do.
Like
would it cause you to call the police on me? I remember one time I was coming to help a friend responding to a situation, and the police were looking at me. And I mean, really checking me out like they were going to put me in the car, talking to each other. Like, yo, I had to tell them, dude, I ain't the one. I'm here to help. You know what I'm saying? But that's immediately what their thought is. This conversation getting so good, we running out of time. I got to mention this to you guys. It's so important. This Saturday, August 18th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., the Man Code Back to School Men's Health Fair for boys. Talking about teaching them grooming, presentation. Invite a friend, brother, cousin. Tell them come on out. There's going to be trivia, gift cards, prizes. Come on down to 1918 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue in Southeast Washington, D.C. Be a part of the Back to School Men's Health Fair by the Man Code. It's going to be a great event. I'm going to be out there. So y'all make sure y'all come on out and check it out. I want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight, everybody who commented, who shared, who liked. Hey, keep on sharing, keep on commenting. You on YouTube, keep watching. Thanks to everybody who just shows love to these husbands. Hey, we love you right back, these husbands. We definitely love that.
Woo! Oh, wow.